and welcome to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich, and our guest is Fr Eugene Ashkar, who is a Catholic priest in Victoria. Welcome to the program, Father.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll be discussing Our Lady, Queen of Peace's message from Medjugorje, a little village in Bosnia-Herzegovina, where Our Lady's been appearing since June the 24th, 1981, and still is today. So the message she has for the world today is, well, this was on the 25th of December 2020, given to Yakov Kolo, one of the visionaries. Our Lady said to him to pass on to everyone, "Dear children, also today Jesus is here beside you. Even when you think that you are alone and that light does not exist in your life, He is here and has never left you or distanced Himself from you. The light of His birth illuminates this world and your life. His heart is always open towards you to receive your every pain, every trial, fear and need. His arms are extended towards you, that as a father, He may embrace you and tell you how important you are for Him, how much He loves you and cares for His children. Children, is your heart open towards Jesus? Have you completely surrendered your life into His hands? Have you accepted Jesus as your Father, to whom you can always turn and in Him find consolation and everything you need to live true faith? That is why, my children, surrender your hearts to Jesus and permit Him to begin to rule your lives, because only in this way will you accept the present and be able to face the world in which you live today. With Jesus, every fear, suffering and pain disappear, because your heart accepts His will and everything that comes into your life. Jesus will give you the faith to accept everything, and nothing will distance you from Him, because He firmly holds you by the hand and does not permit for you to distance and lose yourself in difficult moments, because He has become the Lord of your life. I bless you with a motherly blessing. And that's the message from December the 25th, 2020. And I think it's a really beautiful message. Our Lady's really reaching out to people right through, in their heart, the depths of their souls, because there is a lot of suffering in the world, and people individually suffering and feeling lost and feeling what's going on and where is God in all this. I think this is such a powerful message.
We also need to remember that this message came, in the depths of winter, 25th of December, last year,
Bosnia,
during the COVID outbreak, right? When
December.
Everyone's going into isolation and there's all these different things. We even here in Australia, dealing with. I think I had twice as many nursing home funerals last year. Oh. And the people are sort of saying, but it's not the disease. The disease hasn't got into the nursing homes that I was dealing with, or one of them it did. But for the rest of them, it was, I said, I honestly believe people were dying of loneliness because no longer can the family come and visit them. Even what they call diversionary therapy, People that come along to do sing-alongs and do art things and play bingo and that sort of thing. They couldn't do that during the COVID thing. The place was so locked down that these people just felt abandoned. They felt that if they were alone. And I think that's very much, I think, something that Our Lady is addressing, that you're not alone. You know, the Lord is with you. And I think it's very important that we recognise this, and particularly, you know, the trusting in Him, the faith in Him.
And now for the families of all those people that died in those nursing homes.
Yeah, it's good.
That they feel that they now hopefully feel God's presence in their lives, that somehow they can get to that.
Well, I think it's important for them not to, because I think a lot of people that I deal with, they felt guilty that they weren't able to be there for.
They wanted to be with their parents.
They wanted to be, but they didn't.
They weren't allowed.
That's right. I mean, I did have one parishioner who just simply made life hell for them, keeping her out away from her husband.
Yeah, poor darling.
So they let her in.
Oh, that's good. So she pushed and pushed. And
got through.
Good on her.
You know,
well done.
you don't upset the Teutonic spirit.
Yeah.
But you know, it takes a certain strength and things like that, because this man was so other-centered, and then all of a sudden no one's visiting him. And, it was lovely. Another elderly man who, his family, they'd worked out a roster during this time, and 3 of them each day were rostered to ring him and talk to him. So 1 in the morning, 1 just after lunch, and 1 in the evening.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And so he had that ongoing contact.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
I think people have maybe forget how important interaction with mankind and womankind is. How important this.
We are a very social creature. You know, as much as we might like to be a hermit at times.
Yeah.
We need to be able to escape that.
Yeah.
Because, and I think this is like what the description of hell is. You're just left with yourself, and that's not satisfying.
Beautiful. Well said. You're watching Spirit of Life. We're going to a break now. We'll be back very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Fr Eugene Ashkar, who is a Catholic priest in Victoria, and we're discussing Our Lady Queen of Peace's messages from Medjugorje. In particular today, the 25th of December 2020. Welcome back to the program, Father.
Thank you.
So we'll go through the message. As Our Lady said, "Dear children, also today Jesus is here beside you, even when you think that you are alone. When that light does not exist in your life," and that light does not exist in your life. You know, we do feel like that sometimes. You know, you feel like, oh, where's God in this? Sometimes, you know, I've felt like that myself. Like, where's God in this? And you do feel alone when it's like that. But we need to really remember that Jesus is here beside us when we feel like that, and try and make contact with Him. Yeah.
We often feel that we're left alone, we're in the dark and that sort of thing like that. And it's a sad way to be, but this is the human condition. We can't see the big picture. And sometimes we just need to be reminded that it's okay, I am here. You may not see me, you might not experience me, but I am here.
Yeah.
And take heart.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And then Our Lady said, He is here and has never left you or distanced Himself from you. The light of His birth illuminates this world and your life. So she insists again, He is here and has never left you or distanced Himself from you. Maybe it's also us, ourselves, that we're not conscious that He's there. Like, we're not trying to be conscious enough that He is there. We're not thinking that way. Maybe we need to think that way a bit more often.
Very, very, very true. And again, once again, if we go to this, in the COVID climate, where it's things there that we may not be able to be with the different people at these times, and we may be isolated or isolating. but God doesn't have that same constraint. He is with us. And if we know anything from the scriptures, it's that those that are most in need are the ones that have God the closest.
And then Our Lady said, his heart is always open towards you to receive your every pain, every trial, fear and need. And sometimes we do need to that. We need to just pour out our heart. If we're feeling lonely or sad or confused, just pour it all out, give it to Jesus, assuming, if you can only do that, assuming he is right there next to you. Just give it a go and then see how you feel after 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Just give it a good go.
Yeah, I can't believe how much, I suppose, consolation I get as a priest in dealing with some people and talking to them in this way about, offload to him, and you'll find a whole new world, a whole new life, a whole new meaning. And those that take you at your word, do it. It's such a burden to come off their shoulders. It's just, it's just amazing. It's like, if only we could convince other people this, it really works. Just handing it over to the Lord, it really works. And they just can't see it. And you say, look, once you've experienced it, then you'll understand. I can only describe to you, what it's like, and because you experience it yourself and you try to encourage others.
Yeah.
Right? They experience it and they encourage others.
Yeah.
But the people have to literally trust him and have that faith that he is doing this.
Yeah.
Right? That you may feel alone at the moment, but that's like John Paul II said, cast out into the deep. Take that step. Take that step. You'll be surprised at who'll hold you up. But a lot of the times we don't, because we like to be in control ourselves.
Yes.
And then when the control seems to be lost, we are lost because suddenly there's no control. But it's an illusion. God's the one that's in control. And if we let him, we'll just find just how wonderful, letting him be in control really is. Just extraordinary.
Beautiful. His arms are extended towards you, that as a father, he may embrace you and tell you how important you are for him, how much he loves you and cares for his children. So already that image, his hands are out towards you. We need to be able to visualise that as well, see that.
You do. I mean, I don't know, when going through Lent, we had, every Friday we had Stations of the Cross in the evening. And at the crucifixion, at the time of the death of Jesus, and you've got that image there, and it says, my head is bowed to kiss you, my arms are spread to embrace you. And it gives a whole new thing to this image of Christ upon the cross. That
loving to the
it's
end.
not just he's just agonising and things like that. He's there. It is this embrace.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you're familiar with the Rodin statues. No. It's a whole series of statues. The most famous one, I suppose, is the Thinker. Right? They call it the Thinker.
Yeah.
But it's the last one before the actual gates of hell. So there's all these different statues. And it starts off, at one end, you've got the crucifix. Jesus' arms are opened up. He's all opened up to anyone, everyone, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And progressively, the different statues is this slow implosion. Right? So you've got the gates of heaven and you've got the crucifix. At the other end, you've got the Thinker. He's all curled up, right? All turned in on himself, and it's the gates of hell. And when you think of that image, you think, this is it. God has opened himself up so immensely.
Yeah.
He's had his heart opened up that we may even see the heart of love.
Yeah.
Right? That he's poured out his last drops of blood and water for us. That particular section just reminded me so much of the Stations of the Cross when we come to that one where Jesus is on the cross. And all these different images that when you look at the cross you see, the
unbelievable love.
The unbelievable love. And on
Right
the
to the
cross,
end.
as he's there dying, this is still the manifestation of this love. This is how much I love you. I will endure all things for you.
Oh, so sad. Well, we have to go to a break now.
Time flies.
You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Fr Eugene Ashkar. Welcome back to the program, Father.
Thank you very much.
And I'll go on to read Our Lady's message on the 25th of December 2020. Our Lady said, "Children, is your heart open towards Jesus? Have you completely surrendered your life into His hands? Have you accepted Jesus as your Father, to whom you can always turn and in Him find consolation and everything you need to live true faith?" Now there's some beautiful questions. I guess we need to really ask ourselves honestly those questions, because no one else can answer it for each person. They've got to answer this themselves. Are we really doing this? Am I doing this?
Yeah. Are we going through the actions, or are we actually turning our heart? Are we opening up our heart to Him?
Are we actually... Yeah, exactly. Doing exactly what Our Lady said.
Yeah. When I read this section, it reminded me so much of these people that argue about the existence of God. How can a good God allow these people to suffer, and all that sort of argument?
Yes.
Why does He let children? And I keep looking at it. The problem for me that I see in this thing here is that it doesn't fit their image, right, of what God should be. They can't trust God, right? So because they can't trust, they can never experience the strength and the peace and the wisdom of God. They tend to think, how can He do that to them? But then the question is what do you do about it? God gave you free will. He gave you the ability to do things. What are you doing
to stop bad
except
things?
You're blaming God? That's all you're doing. You can't trust Him, and you don't even trust that God has given you the ability to do something, to come in and to...
Because we're all made in His image.
We are, yeah. We all have that. We all have our intellect. We all have our will. He's given some people some phenomenal abilities, all right? But to be there for the support of people, to be there to even to pray for them. I find it hard to believe that people could not believe. But I realise this is what it is, that they're not prepared to open their heart, because that makes them vulnerable, and they don't want to be vulnerable. They want to be in control.
Yeah.
And then if they find that they are vulnerable even when they're trying to be in control, then they're going to blame someone else that it's not working the way that they want it to.
Yeah. But I can understand when people do say, especially when it comes to children, why would God allow that to happen to beautiful children? I do find that hard myself to understand. Why would God allow pain and suffering
it's a valid
for little
question.
children?
But does that alienate you from your faith?
No.
Why not? Because you trust that I don't understand. Yeah. But I trust that He has a plan. Yeah. He has a way of doing different things. Well, that's what this is, isn't it? Is my heart open towards Jesus? Right? Do I trust Him enough to know what He's doing? Well, I'm a creature. He's the creator. He's God. Yeah. It makes sense. Of course I'm going to have to trust Him.
Yeah, we have to trust Him. And I guess He's got the bigger picture that we can't see. He can see it all from above, what's going on, and we're just seeing it from our little perspective where we are. But yeah, I think always pray for children. Pray. We all need to always just pray for the protection of children. Very big thing in my heart right now.
I mean, children are a particularly vulnerable things there, and I can understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. And I used to be a paramedic, and having to deal with children that had terrible illnesses, and you just think, this kid isn't even old enough to be guilty of anything, and yet they're going through so much. And it's just think, well, hopefully that God will bring some greater good out of all of this. I don't see it, but I have to trust that He's going to do it. I have to surrender into His hands.
Well, I mean, someone asked Our Lady, Mirella, I think someone asked Mirella what Our Lady thinks about when people do abortions, kill the babies inside them. And Our Lady said those little babies will go straight to heaven and become angels, but the people that have done the abortions are the ones they have to answer to God for that.
Well, I mean, I've encountered so many. They carry that cross of the knowledge of what they've done for the rest of their lives, and at key points too, when their child would have been old enough to start school, when their child would have hit a milestone like 16 or whatever it is, when they would have finished school, when they would have gone to university, when they would have got married, when they would have made that person a grandparent. All these different things, these milestones weigh heavily on them for the rest of their life. They suffer for it. It's not like, oh, that's given me freedom, whatever it is. They'll always have that niggling in the back of their mind. If that child had been alive, I'd be a grandparent today.
And sometimes it's not really, always their fault as well. I mean, it's always they've done it, but the circumstances of people influencing them to do that. Get rid of the baby. It's easy to do. It's not always. It's not just one person. There's a lot around all of this, and it needs to stop. It really needs to stop that encouragement of something so awful.
It does, yeah.
And they need to be supported.
This needs the prayer. This needs the trust. This needs, to surrendering of ourselves to the Lord. And to say, Lord, I can't. You can. I give this problem to you. It's yours.
Yes.
I can't. You can. It's yours. And give it off to them.
And then the next line is, that is why, my children, surrender your hearts to Jesus. Permit Him to begin to rule your lives, because only in this way will you accept the present and be able to face the world in which you live today. With Jesus, every fear, suffering, pain disappear, because your heart accepts His will and everything that comes into your life. So that's a beautiful way to end it. Every fear, pain and everything disappears. And I think it will when we focus on golden Jesus.
Yes, absolutely. It gives, I don't know whether when you were a child, but when I was a child, something would happen and your parents would say, now offer it up.
Yeah.
I used to think I was getting robbed because the suffering just disappears.
All right, thank you so much for coming on the program, Father.
It's a pleasure, always a pleasure.
Thank you. You've been watching Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich, and may God bless each and every one of you. Bye for now.
Bring it to birth and blow where you will. Blow, blow, blow till I be but breath of the Spirit.